Okay, so let's talk about feedback. And let's be honest, just hearing that word can make your palms sweat, right? It's something we often dread. But deep down, we know it's one of the most powerful tools we have for actually getting better. But what if we've been thinking about it all wrong? What if there's a way to turn one of the most stressful conversations into one of the most productive? Well, let's get into it. So, the big shift we're going to talk about today is moving from this idea on the left, feedback as a one way street, a simple transaction where someone just kind of gives you their thoughts, to this on the right, feedback as a real collaborative dialogue. It's a huge change, really, from thinking of feedback as a delivery to treating it like a relationship. All right, so first, let's really dig into that old model, the feedback transaction, and get to the heart of why it so often just falls flat, why it so often leaves everyone feeling kind of misunderstood. Now, this right here is what I find so interesting. It points to a really surprising villain. See, we often think the problem with bad feedback is that it's too harsh or unkind. But this suggests that the real problem, the thing that truly breaks the whole process, is just a lack of clarity. The message gets totally lost in translation, and that's where all the trouble really starts. And this lack of clarity often comes from a really good place. We try to soften the blow, right? We use these kinds of phrases, you might want to think about, or hey, just a thought. We think we're being nice, but what we're actually being is unclear. And the person on the other end is left trying to decode what we really mean. They're thinking, wait, is this just a minor suggestion or is this a huge problem? It creates confusion, not clarity. Okay, so if the whole transaction model is broken, what's the alternative? Well, that brings us to the big idea here, this huge paradigm shift from transaction to dialogue. So here's the crucial point. A feedback dialogue isn't about one person judging another. It's a shared act of sense-making. Just imagine two people looking at a problem, but they're standing on the same side of the table, not on opposite ends. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to see things more clearly together. Now, that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work in practice? Well, it really requires a change in responsibility for both the person giving the feedback and, just as importantly, the person receiving it. So this breaks it down pretty nicely. If you're the giver, your main job is to be crystal clear about your intent. Are you pointing out an impact something had, or are you just offering a different perspective? That clarity is absolutely key. Now, if you're the receiver, your job is arguably tougher. You have to fight that gut reaction to get defensive, and instead, lead with genuine curiosity. Asking something like, can you say more about that? Or what did you notice? That's not just a tactic. It's a total mindset shift that can change the entire tone of the conversation. But out of all the tools for creating a true dialogue, there is one single question that really stands above all the rest. It's so simple, but it has the power to completely transform the entire conversation. It's just this. 4 simple words. How did that land? When you offer your thoughts and then you immediately follow up with this question, you're doing something really profound. See, what you're doing is turning your feedback into a dialogue starter. You're immediately shifting the focus away from your intention, what you meant to say, and you're putting it squarely on the impact, how your words were actually received. It signals that you care more about understanding than you do about just being heard. It's an open, honest invitation to talk. And that invitation, that's what leads us to the ultimate goal of this whole approach, what we're calling shared sense-making. So the main takeaway here is that when we combine honesty and specificity with a real willingness to understand the impact of our words, the whole nature of feedback just changes. It stops being this painful critique and starts becoming a powerful engine for real collaborative growth. So let's just leave it with this final thought. What would change for you, for your team, maybe even in your personal relationships, if your very next feedback conversation started not as a judgment, but as a genuine invitation to collaborate?